Thanks, Brett. This first story this week is coming from your neck of the woods again. 2 officers, 5 civilians arrested at Georgia state prisons for possession of contraband. The Georgia Department of Corrections announced their ongoing battle against contraband inside and outside of state prisons has led to multiple arrests in the month of November. Items such as drones, tobacco, marijuana, guns, and cell phones were found being smuggled by the officers and civilians.
All right, so contraband in prison. As my viewers may know, I have served significant prison time. Not as much as some guys, but more than a lot of guys. Contraband in prison. I'm glad that this article pointed out that guards smuggle a lot of the contraband in. I would say that guards are responsible for well over 85% of the contraband that comes in there. To give you an idea of how much some of these things go, and I'm talking about in federal prison. A cell phone, that $40 cell phone that you pick up at Walmart, that prepaid one that's $40 at Walmart, that's $1,000 behind the fence. A carton of cigarettes, $1,000. $1,000. If you take a chapstick lid and you fill that with marijuana, that's $25. A single cigarette is $8. That's the prices of contraband in prison. So if you're a guard and you're not paid a lot of money, you can make a lot of money by bringing in illegal things for the prisoners that are there. It is not surprising that that happens. My advice on how to curtail that and mitigate that problem is, hey, pay and train the prison guards a little bit more, because they're obviously not being paid enough. They really don't make much money at all. That being said, hey, the people who are caught, put them in prison. Give them a taste of what life is like behind the fence. Maybe they'll choose to do the right thing at the end of the day. Brian?
Okay, Brett, we're going to Florida again, where Florida man, infamous Florida man, involved in a $1 million tax fraud scheme has been sentenced to 2 years in prison. Rafael Ramos of Orlando pleaded guilty to aiding and assisting in the preparation of false tax returns. According to court documents, Ramos recruited clients and prepared tax returns on their behalf that claimed financial institutions had withheld large amounts of taxes from their incomes, entitling them to refunds from the IRS. When the IRS tried to collect fraudulently issued refunds, Ramos instructed his clients to move their funds out of the bank to avoid IRS levies. Back to you, Brett.
Well, here we go. Tax fraud. And again, for anyone who knows my history, you know that I'm the guy that the reason your all's tax returns are delayed every single year is this funnily dressed guy in front of you right now. I'm the guy that created that tax return identity theft. The reason that fraudsters look at the government sector for fraud is because it's easy. Because the government typically doesn't put the right security in place. The people who are in charge, they figure it's not their money. They don't really care about it, so they're not really worried about the fraud that's coming in. That's the truth of the matter. When I was doing tax fraud, I would I got to where I was able to file manually one tax return every 6 minutes. I would typically file 180 of these things a week and then take a road trip for two of those days of the week and cash out, pull money out of ATMs. This guy is really no different than what I was doing. He was doing it. He was assisting people in committing fraud. We see that in the government sector, whether it be the IRS, whether it be SNAP benefits, whether it be FEMA or stimulus fraud or Medicaid, Medicare fraud, what have you. And it's a huge issue because these days most fraudsters online look at the government sector first as a place to profit from, and it's going to continue to get worse. And at the end of the day, the people who pay for that, it's not Congress, it's not government that pays for that, it's people like you and me.